Hello everybody, welcome to another Junk Journal with me video. In this video I am going to be doing some spreads about the current world situation, shall we call it. I'm not going to go into detail or go on about it or anything, so don't worry if you're trying to avoid that sort of stuff. It's mostly just I'm going to talk about how I do the backgrounds and things like that. But I'm just starting off here. A few people have asked me about how I print my photos, especially when I have really small photos in my junk journal, and I'm just showing you all I do is collage them on A4, like in a computer program. You can do it on Photoshop, you can even do it in Microsoft Word if you want to. Print them out on my normal printer on photo paper and just cut them up, really. And then what I do usually for the really small photos is I get all the big photos that I want to print, and then where there's gaps on the A4 paper, just fill up those little spaces with the little photos. And then I was also showing you I have them organised in little envelopes, so I've got 2019, 2020, really old photos, and then one couple for very specific events, and then one for junk journaling. So starting off, actually this, I'm going to go back and forth because I kept changing my mind between pages and spreads, but I'm doing this middle spread here, which is this really thin, it's vintage like graph or like mathematical paper. I just wanted something fairly blank and white, and I'm taking some Tim Holtz, like the collage tissue paper. I think this is the botanical one. I'll have it linked if you're interested with the correct name and everything. It's really hard to rip that stuff. It's really surprisingly hard to rip. So I was just taking my little water brush or aqua brush, painting along where I wanted to rip, and that made it like much easier to rip. And you get a really nice ripped line as well, like you still get that distress ripped effect, but you also get it where you want it. And I'm kind of decoupaging that onto my pages. I made just a mix of PVA glue, like normal school PVA glue, and a bit of water, and that basically makes Mod Podge. And once the big bits are down, I'm just taking any little leftover ripped up bits and just sort of pasting them in any little gap areas, and then just quickly drying it with my heat tool. Then this is my pile that I keep in my junk journaling craft cart, and it's just a messy pile of scraps and packaging and ripped up book pages and stuff I want to use for junk journaling. So just going through that to find some bits and pieces I wanted to use. Decided to rip up even more some book pages and paste those on in the same way that I did with the tissue paper. And then once I had done that, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of threw me. I was like, actually, this isn't quite what I imagined. But I kept going for a little while, just taking some Kaisercraft stamps, like kind of mixed media-y ones, and doing some very loose background stamping. First in Stays On, there we go, Dove Grey, and then in the Stone Grey as well. One is just like a kind of like a fence or a net kind of effect with butterflies and stuff on, and the other one is just a scripty writing one. And I'm not using a I've forgotten the word, acrylic block, there we go, to stamp those, because I know the paper was kind of bulky where there's other stuff in the journal, and you just actually in this case get a better effect when you just do it loose on your hands without a block. So I've got this piece of packaging here, which I wanted to include. So it didn't hide so much of the background, I ripped the bottom off and then put the bottom back inside it because I really like the way it looked. Going around the edges of things with Destroyed Oxide in frayed burlap. And then also, because I am a raging numpty, well, here's me cutting up the little photos I'm going to use, but like I ripped a piece to put in the background of that white area of the flip up bit. And then here I am doing it, but then I completely forgot to use it, but never mind. The photos I am putting down are all like pictures relating to the current situation. Obviously, there are so many like memes and stuff going on at the moment, like obviously avoiding the insensitive ones, but some of them are kind of making me smile. One of my favorite ones I've put down, I'm not going to read all of them out because some of them have naughty words on them, but like one of my favorite ones is the one that says, in an unsettling reversal of my teenage years, I am now yelling at my parents for going out, which really made me laugh. Anyways, I actually decided that I didn't like that thing that I had created on my black and white page. I was like, that looks wrong. I want to keep that page monochrome black and white. So then I just went back and decided to do it on another page. That was just a scrap of really nice old writing paper that I've put on that background, and then that ripped scrap of packaging that I forgot to put elsewhere. So there's kind of a bit of a newspaper theme to two of the photos, so I've got some newspaper kind of washi and just creating a little collage of that for a background for that picture that you can kind of see is just a load of text. Won't be reading that one out, has a lot of bad words in it, but it's quite funny. And then I thought adding some map, this is a world map washi, would be kind of poignant, as this is something that is kind of affecting the whole world, as it were. The picture that's the main one on that right hand page is there was this a couple of weeks ago when like all the panic buying started and there was no toilet roll to be found anywhere on the shelves. People started putting copies of the Daily Mail on toilet paper shelves, like, use this as an alternative. And I told one of my sisters and she thought it was hilarious, and she was going shopping the next day. I was like, oh my goodness, please do it. And I was like, and while you do it with the Sun newspaper as well as the Daily Mail, because it's just as bad, if not worse. So she did, and she sent me a picture, and I cracked up laughing, and I just had to save it. But this was a few weeks ago when things were a little less crazy than they are now. I filmed this before the UK lockdown started. I think it was a day actually, but yes, the UK, we are now on sort of a semi-lockdown. It's not particularly strict, I would say, but we in my household are very much staying at home. We already were, actually, because some of us are vulnerable, but I have to say, mentally I do feel a bit better, and I'm sure many people do in this country now that this sort of lockdown has begun and people are staying inside, obviously unless they have to go out for whatever reason, being a key worker, looking after someone, um, or, you know, a handful of morons also not staying in, but I won't start ranting about that subject. Let's go back to what I'm doing. So that other spread with the pictures I've now finished, and I went back to my black and white spread. Now, I think my problem with this spread was the fact that those book pages were so very much a cream colour, and I'd kind of quote unquote ruined it with that. So what I did is I just took some normal gesso and just sort of smudged it around the edges of those book pages to help them blend in to the background a lot better. What I have here, I bought myself a new die set for a treat. It's a Sizzix, I think a Tim Holtz Sizzix set, which I've been lusting after for a long time, so I finally bought it. I cut all three dies out on some black cardstock, and then I'm backing them with vellum and then going to use them as little pockets and stuff. At first I wasn't sure this last little piece whether to use it or not, or maybe to not have it backed with vellum, but when I tried it I was like, no, it looks weird when the other two are backed and this one isn't, so I did back that one. Using some very skinny red line tape to put on the edges of that, and this is me not being able to find my bone folder anywhere. Took a long time to find it. I did cut out most of that footage. I always use those with red line tape just to really push it down, and then it's also easier to peel off the backing. But yeah, it's one of the things I prefer to use with vellum because it's way more secure, and obviously when it's being like a pocket or a tuck spot, it's going to get a lot of sort of movement and pulling and stuff, so it's best to have something really secure. So once those are down, I wanted to find a little something to put in the little pocket on the right hand side. Oh, also just putting down that little negative piece from the dies because I thought it was quite cute. Anyway, I found this little bit of packaging and I thought it was perfect because it's black and white and it's got florals on, so I decided to use that as one of my little journaling spots to put in a pocket. I was going to just add fountain pen friendly paper to the back of it to do my journaling on, but when I did that it was too thin and you could see all the writing and branding and stuff through it, so I'm actually adding white cardstock first to back it and then paste the fountain pen paper over the top of that, and then obviously just cut around it. And I think I decided to round the corners as well, which I had to do by hand, as it were, rather than use a punch, because 2 layers of card plus a layer of paper, it would not go in my corner rounding punch. Very simple decoration on this as well. This sort of lacework paisley-ish sticker, which I found, probably stolen from Shopstock. I just cut in half and put that up the top there to cover up the little bit of branding. And then these stickers I love so much, again stolen from shop stock. I stole like half a packet because I love them so much, but I ordered more for the shop, so it's okay. But they're like all these Victorian and like turn of the century men and women in the dress, and I love them so much. So I put her on it as well. I've just punched a hole reinforcer from a scrap of black and white packaging again, and putting that through the hole so I can make that into a little tag. I don't know if you can hear that noise, but that was my tummy rumbling. That's really embarrassing. For the other side, to add like my more detailed journaling, I've got this envelope from my stash, decorating it with some Kaisercraft stamps and Stays On black ink, some black and white washi tape, and I think some more black and white, just lots and lots of bits and pieces, just to have, so the envelope is actually decorated but not too in your face busy and stuff. And then I did off screen write my journaling, quite a lot of it, kind of a brief rundown of what is going on and what has happened and what we're doing as a family personally, and then using my Dymo label maker to write March 2020, because I know couldn't really put a specific date on it. It's all of March, at least for this country. I realise it's not for the rest of the world. Using Distress Oxide and Hickory Smoke around the edges just to give it that nice sort of vintagey edge, for want of a better word, and make it stand out. A little bit. Oh dear. And then adding the rest of that sticker I used on the little tag, just again as a little bit of something. Popped my journaling in there like it's a letter, added a little bit more journaling to the tag, like it's related, but it's more like a side note, I suppose you could call it. And that's those pages done. So for this last spread is all about free printables. So if you saw my most recent studio vlog, I put my latest collection, like sticker and die cut collection in my shop, up on my website as a free printable for all of those of you who are in lockdown or isolation. Just lots of companies are doing this. I'm only a small little business, but I just wanted to help in some very small way. So I'm just kind of showing you me using it, because why not? I did actually regret I did print it off on cardstock because I thought it would be better for taking photos and showing people, but for this particular spread it might have been better on paper, but never mind. And then that picture as well that I fussy cut around, the lady with the glorious hair and flowers and everything. Prima Marketing, bless them, have put like all of their Prima princesses up on their website for free download, like all of them, which is just so nice of them. So I've downloaded the lot. So I printed her off, sort of A5 size, cut her down a bit, fussy cut around her, going around the edges again with the Hickory Smoke. This is very much sort of like black and white and then colourful sort of page. I put some washi in the background of the page she was going down on, some black and white, just to help her stand out a little bit. Then I'm going to use the little circles from my printable sort of underneath her, sticking out like that, just to add that pop of colour. I used my clip to clip her in place, so I knew where to put the circles, where to glue them down, and then be able to glue her back down in the right place, if that makes any sense at all. And then on the other side, I am simply going to collage a load of the hearts from my printable and two, I think, of the little doodled boxes, going around each and every single one with the Hickory Smoke. Just that little bit of dark ink just really helps them pop and stand out from each other. I did cut one of the boxes in half just to be, I don't know, a little bit more interesting. And then when all of those are glued down, I pulled out my stash of Tim Holtz and Dilution sort of phrase stickers, just to add. I was just kind of looking for phrases and stuff that were vaguely relevant to the situation. So starting with these ones, I think these are the Dina Wakley Dilutions Diary. I always say it like that in my head because that's the way it's spelled. Anyway, just adding a few of those. For example, what they say. Hang on, I've got it in here. Like, be brave, me time, you can do it. Is it over yet? And then some of these are Tim Holtz of the Snarky Comments ones. So I've got like, I didn't see anyone today, so I'm wearing this again tomorrow, which very appropriate. I plan my whole day around the possibility of a nap, again, appropriate. Just kind of make, and then just one little one that says positive there, just like, it's not, I'm trying to say it's not a situation to make light of and to laugh at, but trying to be as positive as possible as you possibly can, I suppose, is what I'm getting at there. But I do think it is important to journal about stuff like this, but at first look you don't know that it's about that. But anyways, I am banging on about nothing now, so I'm going to go. Thank you so much for watching. I will of course leave links to products used in the description box. Please leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Chat to me down in the comments, and stay safe, look after yourselves. I am now going. Bye bye.